I think my story into ministry is a series of calls. So I was always a believer. There was a kind of call, I would say, in my teens when I went to a Billy Graham crusade, and I understood perhaps for the first time the call to commitment, to response to God's love for me was to serve him and follow him. All of us are called. All of us are called to ministry. And that ministry is different for different people. As a Christian, I want to be the person that God has called me to be. I want to do the things that God wants me to do. And there's a sense in which sometimes you just get this urge inside to move on to do something, and you feel as though that's the only way you can be the person that God has wants you to be. That if you didn't do that, if you didn't follow that urge, somehow you wouldn't be complete as a person. And it needs testing. You can't just do it because you feel like it. You need to go through that process of checking it out and checking that the church agrees with you that that is your calling. My husband is ordained, and in the parish, the next thing I did was all the kind of things that people often did do in churches those days, women especially: Sunday school teaching, youth work, running a mums and toddlers. But those weren't things I felt called to. I did them because they needed doing, but I was always very glad when I was able to hand it over to somebody else. And then something happened. I got involved with the Acorn Christian Healing Trust, Acorn Christian Foundation it's called now, and I became involved in the Christian Listeners Project. I went on a course to train as a tutor, and that was wonderful in all kinds of ways. I learned about listening to myself and listening to God, as well as listening to other people. I became a tutor, and it was fantastic because I realised how much I loved teaching adults and teaching adults the faith, seeing people grow and blossom and develop. And it was just so me. I found my calling, the listening, yeah, but also the training, the teaching. Maybe I could be a reader. I was accepted, and I did 3 years of training in a small group, which was really good. And so I was licensed 30 years ago now. And as well as doing the Acorn Christian Listeners work, I was now working as a reader in the parish. I did also at that time have another call, which was to go back to teaching. And so I was in school and I was working in the church, taking services, part of a team, preaching, and I loved it. I loved preaching. I loved the process. I loved the idea of, and I still do this now, finding out in advance, week or so before, what I'd be preaching on, what the passage was, doing a bit of research and reading and praying, and then preaching it to myself again and again, often in the car on the way to and from work, until I really knew what I was saying, and then writing it down. God speaks to me, and I'm then sharing it with others, and it's great. And I love people's response and people listening and growing. The heart of it is Sunday worship. So one week I might be preparing intercessions, another week I might be preaching, sometimes I might be leading a service and I'm putting liturgy together. I help with the chalice. I help with the music. That's another thing that is very much a calling. I'm involved in a very informal new congregation, very much involved in people coming to faith and getting alongside them. During the week, I go to a prayer group and sometimes I lead it, and I'm helping with the pastoral assistance course. So that's the kind of thing I do. That I've never felt that reader ministry is in any way inferior to ordained ministry. In some ways, the reverse is true. I feel as though, as a reader, a licensed lay minister reader, I'm a specialist in preaching and teaching. I don't have to do the other stuff that clergy do. I can focus on that, and that's what I love doing. So I'm very privileged that everything I do as a reader is stuff I love doing. And so I would encourage you, if you feel as though you would like to be able to share your faith in this way with other people, well, go for reader ministry. And if you feel that's your calling to teach, well, stick with it. Reader ministry and go for it, because it's a great blessing for me and I love it.